This isn't a battlefield. It's a grave with an audience.
In this city, the average life expectancy of a new soldier at the front was 24 hours.
This is Stalingrad. And this was not a war of armies. It was a war of rats.
A battle fought not in fields, but in sewers, basements, and stairwells.
How did this one city, this pile of rubble, break the back of the most powerful army in the world?
Summer 1942. The German 6th Army pushes east. They are masters of the open steppe, a steel avalanche aimed at the Volga.
Hitler demands the city. Stalin answers with Order 227, not one step back.
But the moment they reached the city, the rules changed. The German tanks were useless coffins. The war went vertical. The Germans called it Rattenkrieg, the Rat War.
The front line wasn't a line, it was a room. This single apartment building, Pavlov's house, became the symbol of the battle. For 60 days, a handful of Soviet soldiers held out, fighting from floor to floor, using the walls as trenches.
Above, on Mamayev Hill, the ground was traded so many times it was said there was more metal than earth.
Below, in the sewers, squads hunted each other in total darkness. This was a war of snipers, tripwires, and shadows.
A war of sheer, frozen exhaustion, where survival was measured in hours.
They weren't trying to take the city, they were trying to take the army. On November 19th, in a blinding blizzard, Operation Uranus began. Soviet pincers smashed the weaker Romanian and Hungarian flanks. In just 4 days, the trap snapped shut.
The hunters were now the hunted. The Rattenkrieg became a war of starvation. Inside, 250,000 men were trapped. Hitler forbade a breakout. Hold at all costs! Temperatures fell to -30. A loaf of bread was worth more than a medal. Horses, then dogs, then rats, all were eaten.
The Luftwaffe's air bridge was a failure. Most supplies drifted into Soviet lines. The 6th Army was left to freeze.
On January 31st, 1943, Field Marshal Paulus, trapped in the basement of a department store, surrendered.
The silence that fell over the ruins was deafening. Of the 250,000 men trapped in the Cauldron, 91,000 were marched into captivity.
Of those 91,000, only 5,000 would ever see Germany again.
The myth of the invincible Reich shattered. In Berlin, a nation was forced into 3 days of mourning.
The turning point of World War II was not a date. It was a city.
Today, the city, now Volgograd, is rebuilt. But the scars remain. The ground itself remembers.
On Mamayev Hill, where the earth was so saturated with shrapnel, the motherland calls watches over the river of memory. Stalingrad was more than a battle. It was a reckoning.
It proved that an army's strength isn't just in its tanks, but in the will to defend a single, broken staircase.
The grand strategies of generals were decided in the dark by the courage and terror of individual soldiers.
A war won not by maps, but by rats in a maze of rubble. Subscribe for more untold stories from World War II.